the topic linguistic principles of language, which is prescribed in the syllabus of Guru Nanak Dev University for class BA B.Ed integrated course. First of all, we will discuss what is a language and what is the nature of a language. The term language refers to all the specific languages used in all the communities. As has been said earlier, language is chiefly a means to communicate one's thoughts and ideas in such a way that it evokes response in the learner. Every language is unique in nature. To understand the nature of language properly, we must first define it. Definitions. Language is a system of arbitrary vocal symbols by means of which a social group cooperates. It's by Bloch and Treasure. Second is by Nicholas Hans. Language is one of the symbols of a nation. It expresses the mental character of the people who speak it and reflects the feature of their natural surroundings. And third is by R.H. Robbins. Language is a symbol system based on pure or arbitrary conventions, infinitely extendable and modifiable according to the changing needs and conditions of the speakers. Now we will discuss what are the basic linguistic principles of a language. The following are the basic linguistic principles which may be derived from the definitions of language given. First is language is a learned activity. Language is a learned activity. It is a skill and it has to be acquired. A newly born child has no language except weeping and crying. With the passage of time, his crying and babbling sounds develop into meaningful speech sounds of his group. The infant learns the language of the community in which he is born by constant reinforcement and the reaction of those around him. Second is language is a system. Language is an organized way of behavior which can be described in an orderly way. Each language is a unique system with the help of which meaning is conveyed. The main function of a language, the system of language consists of sounds, structures, and items of vocabulary. A person who wants to learn a new language will have to learn new sounds, new structures, and new items of vocabulary. Third principle is language is a system of symbols. Our utterances, which form language, have no meaning by themselves. They symbolize things. Symbols thus stand for things. They are not things in themselves. The written word table is only a symbol for the object which we call table. Symbol makes the system of language. And the fourth point is the symbol of a language are vocal. Though language is a system, yet it does not exist in vacuum. It is primarily observed as speech. The symbol which constitute a language are vocal symbols. Other kind of symbols are possible, but they are inadequate. Gestures more or less conventionalized pictures, signals, flags, and traffic lights are common visual symbols. Drum beats and bugle calls, the tolling bells, sirens, etc., are auditory signs but not vocal symbols. Fifth principle is the symbols of a language are arbitrary. It means that there is no necessary relation between any language item and what it indicates. In English, a certain animal is called horse. In French, it's called cheval. In German, it is called preferred. None of these words is better than any other to the reality of the animal. The next sixth principle is language is human. I mean that only human beings have been gifted with language in the true sense of the term and as is being discussed here. All human beings possesses it and use it systematically for the purpose of communication. Seventh principle is language is non-instinctive. Language is non-instinctive nor hereditary. It is not passed by parents onto their children by way of heredity. Language is not acquired by young ones as they acquire color and shape of the body. Language is a learned activity and it is acquired while living in a social group. Then eighth is language is for communication. The main function of language is communication. Man by instinct wants to express himself and he wants to convey his thoughts to others. For this, language stands by his side and helps him to do so. The next is language is made up of habits. Language is essentially a habit forming process. It is a set of human habits, the purpose of which is to give expression to thoughts and feelings. One requires continuous practice in the use of language to learn the system of target language. The next 10th point is language grows out of culture. By this, we mean that each language is the outcome of the culture to which it belongs. We cannot separate language from the culture in which that language exists. Then 11th principle is language grows and changes. Since language has its roots in culture, which is always changing, language keeps on changing with the change in culture. Change in language does not come only in pronunciation, vocabulary, and ways of expression, but the system of writing also undergoes a change. A living language is thus never static, it keeps on changing and growing. Then the last principle, linguistic principle of language is that language is unique. Every language is a unique system of sounds, structures, and vocabulary. This means the three important elements that go to form the complex system of language are not in any way identical with the three elements of another language. That's all about the linguistic principles of language. Thank you.